backs. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Welcome, everybody. Hi, Amber. Amber says, YouTube was still on your last live. Yeah, it's been, I don't know what's going on, but things have been weird all day with Restream. I think they might be having some problems. I don't know. I do not know. But anyway, good to have you all here. Just got a message that my daughter got her 6-month chip from her sponsor. Her sponsor happens to be a good friend of mine. And no, we don't sit around and talk about my daughter. No, what my daughter does with her recovery is her business. Now, if I wasn't related to her, I might do or say something, but as a father, that's not my job in this case, right? So, open the app. Is your face already? It was because you were the last thing I listened to. Oh, okay. And you went to a random meeting. I like going to random meetings. I like that. Sometimes I like to go to a meeting where people don't know me at all. Turn off the camera. Just do whatever, not volunteer for anything, that sort of stuff. But on this one, we're talking about one of the paradoxes of AA, where you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. I'm stemming. Therapy went good. I don't feel much different, but at least I was able to talk about some things. And, this new idea that I have, Amber knows about it. I don't know that I want to put, because I'm thinking about keeping it secret on who it is. It's part of the humility. It's not like I have so many listeners that everybody's going to know. Not sure I was it. And fuck it, we'll just talk about it. I'm thinking about doing a show with sock puppets. I think it would be just a lot of fun, right? So, Amber says, I went to a meeting that I knew was going to have frothy emotional appeal. Since I'm in fear, like watching a happy movie. They were playing songs and we're talking about them. It was decent. Yeah. Well, I don't like those meetings. Yeah. But yeah, and that's why it's good that meetings are different. Every meeting's kind of different. How many times do you walk into a meeting with something and they're talking about exactly what you needed to hear? Happens all the time. Yeah. When we meet in groups and we try and give away what it is that we have, our problems start to get solved. All right. Now, that does not mean avoid your problems and be a codependent. That is not what that means. You still got to work on yourself. Okay? There's time for self-care. But I don't need to be thinking about myself all the time. Right? So, any who's it, what's it, welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I am your host, also known as the Podfather. If you're here, say hello. Please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. I'm a rewatcher. All right. So helping others is an extra in recovery. It is essential. Yeah. And it has to be altruistic. Now, I'm not saying that you can't work in the recovery field. If you do, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's not an easy field to be in. I really do. I appreciate it a lot. I would recommend that you make sure that you have sponsees, that you're still going to meetings. Okay? If you're getting paid, it's not service work. That is a job. A lot of people think that just because they became a peer support specialist or a recovery coach or a drug and alcohol counselor, that they are now off the hook, that they have graduated to something, and that's not true. If you do not continuously give away what God has freely given you, there'll be a price for that. Ain't nothing in this world for free, man. Right? And not everything is monetary. There is a consequence to not passing on what was freely given to you. There is. I don't know what the consequence will be. That's between you and your higher power. Really, not any of my business, right? Because it's between you. What am I going to do about it? Right? And the big book says our recovery depends upon helping others. I mean, heck, we have a whole chapter called Working with Others that gives you explicit directions on how to do a 12 step. Yeah, pretty clear instructions. Nowhere in the book does it give instructions to sit on your butt and wait for somebody to ask you to sponsor them. Now, that doesn't mean don't raise your hand that you're willing to sponsor. If you're open to sponsoring, because I kind of made the mistake of, I didn't raise my hand during it, so people didn't ask. Because they're like, well, he's full. And every time I asked somebody, they're like, well, I just thought you were full. I've been wanting to ask you. So, because I get kind of uppity, we'll call it uppity, when it comes to that line, who here is willing to be a sponsor. I'm starting to get on board now, a little bit. And the fact where if I am open, I will raise my hand. Because I'm certainly willing. Okay? But I'm more willing to get up off my butt and go over and talk to somebody than to make them approach me. In the book, it describes when we make the approach. It says this often. When we talk to the person, we're literally talking about walking up and meeting them where they are at. And that's the key. We've got to meet people where they are at. You have been there before. You can go back to that. And if you have settled your scorecard, this isn't going to be too tough for you to do. It's about taking all the bullshit that happened in your life that you did, that other people did to you, and turning it into gold. And that is not an easy proposition for anybody. Okay? My life has been full of a lot of things that weren't good. And I'm not saying I didn't have a decent life. I tell you now, I had a better life than a lot of people out there, man. So I don't have any valid complaints. Okay. And there are times when I'm like, I wish I was just like other people, where my mind wasn't racing incessantly and coming up with ideas for a million ideas a minute and this and that, and a quiet head. But at the same time, if I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be able to sit here today and discuss what it is that I get to discuss. Right? Sometimes I think I know what I want. It's hard. This is the way that I put it to my therapist was, yeah, I know I help a lot of people. That's still hard for me to swallow though. I don't know why. It to me it's like it's fake. Like it's not real. Even though I know it is. Okay. But even when I do help somebody and that's what I did, I want more. I I am not satisfied at this. If I could, I would help millions and millions and millions of people. But what I don't want is for my phone to blow up, for my Facebook to blow up. I don't want a bunch of messages, right? So I have to ask myself a question every now and again. Dion, is that what you really want? And often it's no, I don't. No. Why am I getting jealous over something I don't even want? Because I was taught that you got to be this way and that way, and I tend to forget that I can just be who I am and still be of very help to other people, right? So helping others protects your sobriety. Okay. Couple of my sponsees lately, I've had to remind them that they are 100% successful as a sponsor. They are still sober. And because our, as a sponsor, I don't have a success rate. I don't. There's no point. That'd be silly. Okay. Dion the professional has a success rate. I don't know what it is right now. Okay. But seems like every person I come into contact with seems to get sober. I don't know. I have a pretty high success rate. When I was working detox, if I had 10 people, I would send 7 of them to treatment. Yeah. And that's why I kind of want to go back to work at detox because I'm really good at it. We'll see if it's in God's plans. If it means that I need to help more people through sock puppets and making shit up, not making things up, but skits and things like that. Wouldn't that be kind of fun though? Right? Like you could have one discussion with a sponsor and sponsee. Oh, but I love him, sponsor. Go back and forth. The kids can make ones. Maybe you make your own character. We come up with scenarios and skits. There's so many things to recovery that I think it'd be a blast, man. I really do. I would say I'm excited about it, but nothing's making me excited at the moment. There's right. Um, my therapist did a great job of explaining it to me. And we're getting to this. I know I'm a little off topic, but I wouldn't keep you entertained if I talked about the same thing the whole time, right? And it's a spoon theory because I talked to Amber about this a little bit earlier too. That where I see people and they're like, oh, I went to this doctor's appointment, and then I got my nails done. I'm just making stuff up. I went to the store, I got the tires rotated and the oil changed, got home, took a shower, made dinner, got the laundry done. And I'm lucky if I even take a shower that day. Yeah, and I'm using examples. I do shower. Okay. I don't shower every day. You're not supposed to, actually. You're supposed to shower like 3, 4 times a week. Anyway, it's up to you. I used to shower twice a day. So, but this isn't about Dion showering. Now that you know my deep, dark secrets about showering. And it's a spoon theory. And she said, if you can imagine, spoons are like energy. Okay. And where some people get 5 spoons every day, right? And they go to bed, next day they have those 5 spoons. Not so for me. Let's say I have 5 spoons that day, but I exceed the amount that I could actually do and did 7 spoons. For the next 2 days, I might have 1 or 2 spoons. It will wipe me out for 2 days. I don't work with the same amount of spoons as everybody. Some days I have 20 spoons. Some days I have 1. I never know. what it's going to be the next day and how many spoons I'm going to have to work with. All right. She had a much better job of explaining it than me, but she also had a little bit more practice. So what does it say? What is our core message when it comes to this? Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. Okay. Now, in the big book, it goes on to say it works when other activities fail. Don't do the other activities. Go straight to helping somebody. You can avoid pain in your life with that, right? But what does that do? Well, it first of all, it keeps us connected. And when you work with somebody that's just coming into the program, or maybe they're new, they're going to remind you it doesn't work out there. It's what happens with me. I go to meetings and I am reminded it does not work out there. Now, I do not say that out loud. I don't say that at me. I never tell newcomers. Some people might, and for me, I think it's kind of rude. Oh, look how fucked up you are. Yeah, it don't work out there. Yeah, I see. I can't. So keep that one in your brain. Okay, it doesn't work out there, but the next thought should be, is there something that I can do to help this person out? Here's a really good indicator. Is it their first time to AA? Have they ever, and you'll know, because people that have been in AA before will say, it's not my first rodeo. They will say it. We always have to explain, In other words, they're saying, I know I need to get a sponsor. I need to work the steps 90 and 90. Right? But if not, you can teach them the basics. And I tell you now, I tend to forget that they don't know what I know. Like how it works is on page 58. That, no, there's steps and then there's traditions, the long form, the short form, a sponsor, what a secretary does, what a chairperson does, how to be I forget that they don't know these things yet. So I have to go back. And what does that do? Well, it makes the program fresh for me again when that happens. All right. Makes it a fresh for me again. What else does it do? It keeps us grateful. There's no better gratitude than a job well done. Yeah. If you stick around this program and you thoroughly follow the path, there are going to be times when people will say something to you and you're not going to be able to believe it. Like they'll say, you said this in a meeting 2 years ago and it made me stay. Yeah. It'll happen. I got a call last week from somebody who hit 90 days because I decided to take an hour and a half out of my time a few months back. Out of everything, was it really that long? Did it take that much effort? Not really. It didn't take much effort at all. All right. But best of all, at least for Dion, it keeps me out of self-centered thinking. So again, service is not optional. For me, it's protection. Dr. Bob talks about it. Let's see what Dr. Bob says about it. 180. All right, just towards the end of it. It is a most wonderful blessing to be relieved of the terrible curse by which I was afflicted. My health is good. I've regained my self-respect and the respect of my colleagues. My home life is ideal. And my business is as good as can be expected in these uncertain times. I spend a great deal of time passing on what I learned to others who want and need it badly. And I do it for 4 reasons. 1, a sense of duty. Okay. Isaac, I hope you're listening. I just said duty. Duty. Doo-doo. Farts. poop. I actually laughed. I haven't really laughed all day. Thanks for letting me do that, right? A sense of duty. I feel like I owe. Why do I feel like I owe? Because I do. Well, I don't owe anybody anything. No, I owe my community a lot. Right? Not just from what I've done in the past, but I'm on Medicaid and I have EBT. You guys are kind of flipping my bill. So I feel like I owe. That's why I do a lot of service work because you guys are helping me. That's the way I see it. Because there was a man who, after years of me begging for help, finally approached me. Everybody else must have not been too willing. 2 years, and finally approached me and said, Dion, I'm going to be your sponsor. You need God in your life. Bad. He was not wrong, right? So a sense of duty, I owe. It is a pleasure. Yeah, it isn't just that it's a pleasure. I get a thrill out of it. It gives me a high. And maybe that's why I'm insatiable about it. Because it feels good. And Dion likes things that make him feel good, right? That might be a connection. What does that mean? It means codependency. I might need to take a look at that, right? But it's a pleasure. Yes. Dion, thank you for helping me. Oh, it was my pleasure. Because, see, I already got what I needed before we even started really talking. It doesn't work out there, right? Last night, there was a guy in our group just having a hard fucking night, and he needed another guy to talk to and just vent. That's what he needed. He just needed to vent without anybody giving him any advice, without anybody telling him what to do. Okay. And be like, oh, you're not allowed to be angry. He actually had every right to be angry. He did. Right? But he didn't want to carry that anger throughout the day. Right? So it is a pleasure. 3, because in doing so, I am paying my debt to the man who took time to pass it on to me. All right, kind of covered that. I had a sponsor, but he wasn't the only one that took time out. There are 3 or 4 people today that took their time out for Dion because he wasn't doing well. Happens all the time. I even heard from one of my aunties. I've never met this aunt. It was on my dad's side. It's my dad's sister. I haven't met anybody on that side of the family. But she reached out. She's like, I go through that stuff too, right? She doesn't want me to feel alone. And I appreciate that. And that probably happened because when it was her birthday last week, I picked up the phone and called her. She's like, you're calling me to? I'm like, that's what I was taught. You call. I don't know how the Barlows were raised, but I was taught you call. It's a matter of respect. There again, what was I doing? I was meeting my auntie where she was at. She's a little bit older than me. She appreciates a phone call. In this case, a phone call or handwritten letter would be the right thing to do. Right? Whereas Amber, who's a little bit younger, prefers texting. Because otherwise I'd call you, Amber. But she prefers texting. So there again, we meet each other where we're at. It isn't just for newcomers. What about the guy that's got 24 years who just lost his daughter or son or something? We're all an arm length away from the next drink. Every single one of us. 4, because every time I do it, I take a little more insurance for myself against a possible slip. Yeah. And in the beginning, that's the main reason. After a while, you do it because it's a pleasure. Because you're going to find that once God provides all your needs, your wants aren't what they used to be. Oh, okay, Amber, it's not even my age. I work on the phone. Still, yeah. I gave the wrong reason why, not because she's younger. Sorry, old soul Amber. Actually, she is. All right. and this isn't, Amber, this isn't the first time you and I hung out in a lifetime. I already know that. I knew that the day I met you, actually. All right. So selfishness, self-centeredness is the root of our troubles. All right. So self-centeredness versus service work. I'm going to tell you where this. Oh, I don't get self-centered about my bullshit. Bullshit. All right. When you don't show up to the meeting on time, you're avoiding service work. We know that. You want to know how we know that? Because we do it too. Don't think I haven't done it. Because I have. I do it every Saturday at 3 o'clock. I'll admit it. Oh, I don't feel like it. Well, I don't want to chair. What if I fuck it up? What do you mean if you fuck it up? You're going to fuck it up. You want to know the only time I forget a prayer? When I'm leading. And it happens a lot, right? So it's the selfishness that might keep us out. So, well, what do I get to get out of it? How do I feel? What about me? Right? And we start to make that switch. Once you start getting through some of the steps, your thought process is going to be on a different plane. This is called being rocketed into the fourth dimension where you just see life differently. So it goes from what can I get to who can I help? From how do I feel to how can I serve? And then what about me gets changed to how can I be useful? So service is the antidote to self-centeredness. And thinking about my problems all day long without discussing them is selfish. All right. See, I wanted to do a little bit better today so I could come on and do a real live. The earlier one, it did not sit. I didn't even send it out. I didn't make any clips of it. It just, this one I will. It was a little bit better. I need to be I had to have a little bit better of an attitude. I needed therapy. That's what I needed. And good friends today. Thank you for that. I just, I get scared because, I'm not necessarily going through anything with anybody, but I've never been in a position where people wanted to continue hanging out with me. I've never had long-term friends. This is all new to me. And I'm discovering it myself, so, but sometimes I get scared and I don't want to share because I don't want people to be like, well, Dion's depressed again. Oh, well, he's just toxic. He's, because I seem to have a lot of problems and I don't want people to think that I just only have problems. I know you probably don't think that, right? Amber says, now we got the pod photo back. Yeah, thank you. I love you, honey. So why newcomers keep us sober? All right. Well, again, it reminds of where we came from. What happens if we go back? But there's another part. It helps us realize how far we've come. Now, do not compare. This is not a comparison. The only comparison you should be like, oh man, yeah, well, I was at 30. Oh man, yeah, I remember that. That's what it was like. Oh wow. All right. Yeah. Amber says, you're probably my most talked to person between noon and 7 p.m. or so. It's because I start decompressing at 7 o'clock. Aw, make me feel special. It and like I said, I'm not used to it. Sometimes I feel like a fucking fraud, man. I know it's not true. I know. But we're working through it, right? So, how do we carry the message? We have to share our experiences, not our opinions. I do what I can to keep my opinions out of the daily trudge. I said I do the best that I can. I didn't say I'm good at it. But I usually let people know it's my opinion and not because Your experience with something may be different than mine, and we need to hear it. I need to hear it. Maybe we're talking about something and you have a different view on it. It helps me understand it a little bit better because your experience was different, right? That's why we don't crosstalk in meetings, because everybody's experience might be a little different. Okay. And your experience is fact for you. But if you want to utilize my experience to help you out, I'm more than happy to let you have it, because I stole it too. Actually, it was given to me freely. So I'm going to freely give it away. Right. Yeah. We share what worked for us. Well, last night when I was talking to that guy at the end, because I got to say something. And I told him I don't give advice, and I especially don't give a relationship advice. But I will say this: you do what's best for you, and you know what it is. You know what it is. Just take some time. Mostly, I just want to make sure that you have a better night, because you don't deserve to feel like that, dude. No. And he wanted advice. I'm like, no. No. We don't lecture. We don't preach, and we're not going to force recovery down your throat. We're going to share our experience, strength, and hope. That's what seems to work best. That's what the people found out before me, that just sticking with my experience, strength, and hope seems to work best. Right? Because like in the beginning, you're probably going to hate alcohol, but you got to get to a point where you're neutral. You can't hate alcohol, or you're not going to be able to do very. Nobody wants to hear you hate alcohol. So that's why we need to, that's why we try and keep our opinions out of things, right? Service also gives us purpose, right? It gives us meaning, direction. Helping others gives recovery meaning, and we need meaning. All right. There are a few other things, but I'm just going to go ahead and go to the end here, because our AA meeting's in 18 minutes, right? The ripple effect. I have found that I'm saying alcoholics, seem to have a bigger ripple effect than other people. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because we overdo everything. I'm not sure why, but I have noticed it. Now, the ripple effect that I used to cause was I'd piss off one person, so they piss off the next, and so on and so forth. Anger travels a lot quicker than happiness and joy. It does, a lot quicker. So that was the easy part. It was having to become a better person and change what kind of ripples I'm sending out. Right? Where my ripples used to be these big smashing tsunamis. Now my ripples are more like a lazy river. Relax. Let's talk about this stuff. What's going on? See? And when I go out into the world and I'm kind to other people, they will be kind in turn. So that means that the person that you let go before you at the grocery store is going to treat the next person better because you decided to be kind. It's weird, right? So you help that person, then that person helps others. Then recovery starts spreading and lives change. So service creates a chain reaction of recovery. Yeah. Just I've got to, I guess I've got to make the claim too, because you are and I am probably helping more people than we even realize. Yeah. I have wives that love me because I helped out their husbands. I have parents that love me, but have they ever met me? No. They don't necessarily need to, because they can see it. They can see their son or daughter becoming better. They're watching their son or daughter come back. And there's no amount of money in the world that can do that. Nope. So let's bring it on home. Service protects sobriety, service builds connection, and service gives our life purpose. And I don't know about you, but I need purpose in my life. I do. Or I get stagnant. I'll wither and die. I'll go back out if there's no if I was not helping anybody at all, I'd have no purpose in my life, and then it'd just be over with. Yeah. So maybe there's a fear in there. I don't know. But I do know this. I'm done talking about it for today. Yeah. Now it's time to move into another gear. Go share my experience, strength, and hope. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Both my wife and I are playing Red Dead Redemption. So we keep yelling back and forth. It's the only game she ever plays. So that's been kind of cool. That's been kind of fun. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you for just having my back, man. Like I said earlier, I'm not used to having long-term friendships. It's never happened in my life. Well, except for maybe with Shannon. Yeah. But she's my wife. That's something different. Something different, a little bit more intimate. All right. So, all right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. Yes, you. What's great about this, I'm pointing at me, but I'm also pointing at you. Peace out. And let's remember, we never, ever trudge alone. So thank you for being on my journey with me.